We got Marvel Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the episode 9 and 10 finale.
So,
That shit was cooking, bro.
how's my son doing?
Welcome back, everyone.
Peter's
Here
dad
are
is
your
alive.
full Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Episode 9 and Episode 10 finale
It was
video. It's
crazy.
the season finale. They just aired the last two episodes together, but they have renewed the show for Season 2. They've already been working on episodes, and they just renewed it for Season 3.
Can't wait for
There's a
that.
bunch of Easter eggs, and we have a pretty good idea of some of the major arcs they're going to be adapting for Season 2, so
They
we'll break
got
it all
Venom
down.
symbiote in
If
it
you're new
too.
to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. Biggest surprise cameo scene was probably Josh Keaton. Did not expect Spectacular Spider-Man to cameo in the way that he did. The episode 9 title was Hero or Menace, a reference to J. Jonah Jameson and the things that he would write in the Daily Bugle about Spider-Man.
I'm
It's also a sly
surprised they haven't
reference to the
had him
Tobey
on there.
Maguire Spider-Man movies,
Well,
which
I
also
guess they
used this
did with the
exact
newspaper.
headline during those movies. Maybe they'll try for a J.K. Simmons cameo in season 2 as J. Jonah Jameson.
Hopefully
or
they
maybe they'll
do.
just use a different actor to play the character. It just felt weird that they didn't include him during season 1. But we did get Daily Bugle references. This time during the title, they add the new card of the intro, the Scorpion in his new comic book suit
That
with the
Scorpion
pieces of
fight
the
was
historic
insane though.
Oscorp suit, and he's in the upper left-hand corner in that old suit. They start the episode with Dr. Octopus reading the actual text of the Sokovia Accords. I don't think we've actually read through those, but I think there's copies of it you can read online, or portions of it that you can read online. He noticed that only
Anthony Stark,
117 countries are
Iron Man.
recognizing them, meaning that there are places around the world where they're not valid, like Madripoor probably doesn't recognize the Accords because it's a super shady place where a bunch of criminals hang out.
Mm.
Norman Osborn comes to visit him, gloating, rubbing his face and everything, and it sounds like they split
He's gonna
back
get
in the
out
day
and whoop
under
his
really,
ass.
really tense circumstances. The way that Norman Osborn tells it, he remembers the exact insults that Dr. Octopus gave him when he originally quit Oscorp when they were younger. Iron Man is in the news for arresting him. Norman Osborn also implies that he also kind of hates Iron Man, like both of them hate Iron Man for separate reasons, but probably Norman Osborn just because Tony Stark would be a competitor of his. He reveals he's taking all of Dr. Octopus's weapons and armor that he developed and is going to try and repurpose them as Oscorp tech. Makes sense. Eventually, this will all
Just
probably
taking
culminate in
someone
him
else's stuff
building his own Green Goblin suit, the glider, basically
and
almost
calling it
redeeming who the
his.
new-to-be Green Goblin from all
Just
the
like
stuff
real
he
life,
revealed.
bro.
That being said, there is no mention or reference to actual Green Goblin or Norman
Yet.
Osborn Green Goblin during the finale. That sounds like they're going to save that for maybe like a season 2 teaser into like season 3, and they'll probably
Yeah.
just leave him as the final boss of
The
the
final
series,
boss.
however many seasons it winds up running.
Unless they do the
Also, that
Sinister
symbiote teaser
6.
at the end of the finale makes me feel like season 2 is going to be a symbiote saga arc. Dr.
Yeah, that shit
Octopus
would be
declares
cool.
war on Norman Osborn, sort of setting up that battle for season 2 as well. Tombstone's gang tries to rob the Oscorp truck to steal some of those weapons so that they can kill Scorpion with. He also mentions Iron Man, saying that they'll have more weapons than Stark, because Stark Industries is still a weapons
They're gonna take the
manufacturer.
whole truck, bro.
Nico hangs out with Pearl, sort of setting up their friendship during season 2. Pearl is like the only friend amongst all of them that is
She don't know
not
what's
with
going
Spider-Man
on.
now, so maybe that will change in season 2. The Bluefin Breakdown Spring 2016 bus ad is from earlier episodes. It's meant to be a parody
2016.
of Red Dead Redemption 2. Captain America Civil War also came out in
I
2016
forgot they're
when the
back
Sokovia
back
Accords
in
were
that
ratified in
time.
the MCU when they're being ratified here too. So you
They
can kind of
did
say
say
it's 2016 in this universe right now.
I
She
forgot
listens to
about
Peter
that.
Parologist on the phone and then uses her amulet to try and save herself from the crash with a little help from Spider-Man in his shiny new classic comic book suit.
Oh
The way they
yeah.
visualize the Spider-Man suit reveal too is pretty cool. Like they start with the reflection of him in her amulet. The amulet didn't summon him or anything like that. He just swung in the nick of time. It was just a coincidence. But based on the way her arc plays out through the next couple episodes in the finale, she clearly knows how to use magic, so she knows
Where
that
she
the
got
amulet
that
is magic,
dark
just like
magic,
the
bro.
comics. My assumption is this is going to wind up being a big
Wanda
season 2
Witch
arc for
or
her, where
Scarlet
Peter learns
Witch,
her secret, because they sort of play it that way, a bit of a reversal.
but not
Every
as
episode, she
powerful.
forgives him, but they're like, no more secrets, and then she's like, yeah, ha, no more secrets, but then stares at her amulet and uses magic at the end of the finale. So that being said, she's way less sympathetic now because she had this own secret of hers that she wasn't telling to Peter, while she was pissed off that he didn't tell her his secret. That whole arc with her being upset with him would have made a little more sense. She would have been a little more sympathetic if she hadn't realized that she had magic powers yet. She does a little web slinging with him. They use her as sort of a parallel for Mary Jane during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies too. does some classic Spider-Man quipping with Tombstone's gang, starts
I
taking
thought they were
down,
gonna
especially
fight
when he sees
Spider-Man
Ronnie,
and
trying to figure
Tombstone,
out what's going on here. But this
but they teamed up.
basically, this whole event winds up being them versus the Scorpion and his true origin as comic book Tombstone. And for those of you asking if they'd ever try to do Spidey sense on the show, they finally do it here, where he senses Scorpion coming in his full comic book
But they
form.
didn't
Now
put the
we're able to
little
do it with it too.
thing, did
They
they?
had their big street fight again. This is like round 2, but this was actually in the trailers with them fighting in the middle of the street. Spider-Man has an anxiety PTSD flashback causing him to hesitate,
He ain't know what
abandoning
to
to
do.
save Dawn, and this is mostly just to set up Tombstone's origin story where they reveal his comic book powers. Dawn winds up completely bailing on them, being
Bro, how
super
you gonna
smart,
leave if you the
which is
leader?
rare from the comics.
I was
So
like,
then
bro,
Tombstone winds up running the local gangs, and Dawn from the comics, or the comic book character he's based on, winds up working under Tombstone. So maybe he'll
yeah,
come
he's
back
gonna
in
have
season 2 and
to.
he'll slink back and become one of his underlings.
He left like a
Lonnie takes
little
charge,
bitch.
working on securing the Oscorp truck, but then gets that comic book Tombstone origin story with the powers. It's Diox 3 that he gets dosed with, just like he did in the original comics, giving him enhanced strength, faster reflexes. It makes his skin nearly impervious to most weapons like bullets, giant scorpion stingers. He's also resistant to really hot temperatures and electricity, and claims his skin is as hard as diamond.
Mm.
Later at the end of the finale, you also see his skin starting to look
Slowly
white.
gonna
Like in the
turn
full
into
comics, he'll probably
Tombstone.
look entirely white, like he'll look much more like comic book Tombstone by season 2. They use the rest of the fight to show you all of his different new Tombstone powers. First, the Stinger isn't able to penetrate his skin. Then he's able to throw Spider-Man around super fast to help him take down Scorpion, and he's able to survive the giant fall from all the beams. And based on the way they end things here with the Scorpion takedown, it seems like he and Tombstone are total bros, but I think part of the idea is that eventually they will come to odds because he's running a gang. They're going to be doing a
He's
bunch of
gonna start
illegal
turning
stuff, so
darker and
Spider-Man will
darker.
eventually try to capture them.
He
So
ain't
at
gonna
least
have
the
a
way they're
choice but
playing
to
it,
catch him.
Lonnie is meant to be his version of a Winter Soldier type of character, like his version of Bucky, the friend that he wants to save, but who's
Bucky,
doing a
your
bunch of bad
pal.
stuff. For a brief second, though, during the Scorpion fight, Spider-Man goes super dark when he
Yeah, he
thinks
was
that
about
Peter's dead, listening
it
to a
was
lot of the advice
he
from
was about
Tobey
to kill
Maguire
him
and
like
Norman Osborn's advice about
in the
using
No Way
small with
Home
great power, which is a really cool
when they were
twist
about
on
to
the
kill
classic
Green
phrase.
Goblin.
I also think because of the big symbiote reveal at the end of the season, they're using this for Symbiote Saga setup where you see something happen similar to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, where he almost goes super dark, almost kills a bunch of people when he gets that symbiote. When
Bully
Tombstone
Maguire.
stops him from killing Scorpion, it also felt like a comp to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man
Yep,
stopping Tom
exactly what I
Holland,
was
who did the
saying.
same thing to Norman Osborn in No Way Home. There are a lot of Spider-Man movie references throughout these last 2 episodes. Nico punching him when he shows up upside down to Fisher Enterprise also feels like a twist on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Mary Jane kiss,
That was
which are
funny,
both the
bro.
worst. Back at home, Peter and Aunt May watch the Marvel version of the
And I
Batman,
like the
and
end,
Norman
how they
Osborn
were
is able
showing
to 100 Spider-Man
where everyone
bullets
was
to
at
set up the spider
going
that
into
his
season
brother
2.
made to clone Spider-Man's abilities to make 100 other actual Spider-Man people. It gets way crazier with the whole bootstrap paradox of Peter's Spider-Bite origin later in the episodes, but you could also look at this as a reference to the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man origin story where the spiders came from Oscorp. His team starts testing out all of Dr. Octopus's weapons and armor. The Green Goblin glider gets better. The energy source Peter was working on with Dr. Connors is coming
He
along.
trying to go
He's
into
also using
space,
Peter's
bro.
blood, like I said, to clone Spider-Man, basically. They say clone his DNA structure, but they're basically trying to replicate his abilities, but you get the reference. And during the end credits for this episode, they add the scenes with the Scorpion fight, Lonnie getting his Tombstone
He got the
comic
full
book
suit.
origin story in his powers,
When he
and
get
another
out of
scene
jail,
where
he
Dr.
gonna get it.
Octopus was giving Scorpion his suit from the comics in Spider-Man's new suit. Episode 10 was titled If This Be My Destiny, which is a direct reference to the arc from the classic comics, also known as the Master Planner Saga, Amazing Spider-Man issues 31 to 33, featuring the panel, basically the vibe that they used for this reference in Spider-Man Homecoming, where he got stuck under the rubble. This
Excuse me?
gets referenced all the time. Even if you haven't read those original comic books or that original arc, you've probably seen these comic book panels somewhere. During that storyline, Spider-Man faces someone called the Master Planner who winds up being Dr. Octopus and has a serum to cure Aunt May that he uses on her after defeating him. The line, "This be my destiny," is a reference to his first day at Empire State University as a student.
The day he
And
turned
because of the
into
whole Bootstrap
Spider-Man.
Paradox, Time Stone, Infinity Stone
That shit
references
was
in this
pretty
episode,
crazy,
it
bro.
feels like it's a reference back to his first day at Midtown High when he got the spider bite in the first place. There's going to be a whole lot of questions about that. Anytime you involve time travel and bootstrap paradoxes, you start to wonder, like, what does Loki think about this? What is
Yeah,
God
that
Loki
was
gonna
pretty
do about this?
trippy about
During
it.
this new intro scene, they show him web slinging on the cover
It's
of
like,
the
how?
with him in the new suit in the upper left-hand corner too. They start at high school. The football team lost because they didn't have Lonnie, of course. Nico, now on Team Spider-Man, covers for him in class. Pearl, not quite on the team yet, like I said, might be on the team in season 2. She'll probably
You gonna
eventually learn the
be
secret.
dating Pearl? I
He's
mean,
busy
yeah,
hanging
Pearl,
out around
probably.
town who got a bunch of their cars stolen from people from Scorpion's gang that did not get arrested by the police last time. Harry coins the term Spider-Manning as if it's a verb, like you're out Spider-Manning. When Peter barely makes it to class on time, they use it for a big reveal joke to the super quiet person in their group winds up being a secret genius just like Peter and winning them the A- grade. They continue the grade
W
joke with
classmate,
Amadeus
bro.
Cho bragging about his 5.0. He seems like a real butthole on this show, and
Yeah,
going
he
into
do,
season
bro.
2 because he stays at Oscorp.
He need
sounds
an
like he
ass
will
whooping.
continue to be a huge butthole. Norman Osborn reveals Project Monolith, which is basically the combination of everybody's different secret projects they were working on. Amadeus Cho claiming that he figured out what they were all really working on along the way. And basically, it's an
He's on that
artificial
evil side,
Bifrost.
bro.
Norman Osborn claims that he got the idea after watching Thor arrive in New Mexico during the events of the first Thor movie with the Bifrost there, and the Avengers during the events of that movie in the Battle of New York using the portal the Space Stone opened, and watching the portal that Doctor Strange opened with the symbiote creature. Basically, anytime Norman Osborn opens up the news or opens up a browser reading news online, he gets an idea to build some crazy technology.
Of course he
based on it.
does, bro.
So it sounds like he's basically trying to replicate the powers and abilities
Trying to
of
steal
all
it.
superheroes that show up on planet Earth. But he gets crazy when he starts talking about how excited he is for this, basically likening himself
They get too
to
much in
God,
their head.
like Odin in Thor. Like he thinks of himself as a god, which sounds like a very Norman Osborn thing to do. Also making it sound like he wants to strip mine the universe, like call it the harvest, but that does not sound good. They test out the coordinates that they believe will lead to a barren part of space for a portal, but it winds up being the place that the symbiotes came from. It winds up being a place where a bunch of symbiotes are living. Doctor Strange opens a giant sling ring portal before they can fire it up to tell him to stop because he's seen the future, like he knows what's going to happen, and this is going to be a terrible idea. Like, no, don't open this. When he mentions
And
the
they still
Sorcerer
did it,
Supreme
bro.
world, that's
They
where
ain't
the
give
Sorcerer
no
Supreme now lives, and
ifs.
Greenwich Village is where the Sanctum Sanctorum is located. Norman Osborn absolutely loses it on him. Maybe the idea is that his wife died at Midtown High in the accident, and that's why he's so
I don't
mad.
think
It just
so.
seems like he really gets pissed off at Doctor Strange without a whole lot of reason. He makes a 21 Jump Street reference, and the reason why Doctor Strange keeps telling Norman Osborn that he did nothing at Midtown High is because of the whole bootstrap paradox of it all.
He didn't do it yet
Been to Midtown High
until that
because
day,
of what happened
which was
with the
kind of
Time Stone.
crazy.
So even though they know about the accident, Doctor Strange doesn't know anything about it yet. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Norman Osborn doesn't understand what the Time Stone is or the whole time travel of
Yeah,
it all.
nobody
But if he
does.
does learn about it, he would also probably try and recreate those powers too.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't let Norman Osborn find out that there is a time stone that he could potentially get his
Right.
hands on.
Nah,
When they
he
fire the
can't
portal
handle
up, the
the
energy that
stones
comes
though.
from it initially looks like the Kirby Crackle,
He
which
not
is the Spider-Man
Thanos.
into the Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse. They use that a lot when they open up the multiverse portals during that, but those are multiverse portals. This is just meant to be a regular Bifrost type of portal through this one universe. The same symbiote from episode 1 steps through the portal, and then Peter
Venom.
Dr. Strange try to
I think
stop
it's
him.
Venom at
We
least.
clock that the special spider that they created using Peter's blood escapes. That's the same spider that gave him the spider bite. So here's where we
That
start
was a
getting the
crazy part,
bootstrap
bro.
paradox of it all, where he basically got powers because he already had powers, and Norman Osborn tried to clone those powers, and the spider that had those clone powers bit him.
Yeah,
eventually,
that's
turning him
trippy,
into
bro.
Spider-Man in the first place. So future Peter winds up being the reason why Peter in the past got Spider-Man powers. While they're having the big fight here, he mentions the Dark Dimension, which Dormammu rules over currently.
That was
That's
pretty
where
cool,
credits
bro.
to MCU Doctor
When they
Strange
went
in the post-credits
in the
for
Dark
Multiverse of
Dimension.
Madness. Peter also goes on a little trip through space and time through
That
the
was
Dark
badass
Dimension
to see.
region. So Peter can now say that he has been to another dimension. Doctor Strange starts using the Time Stone, and then the symbiote tries to steal it, and it causes them to fall back in time to that same event from episode 1, basically creating the circumstances where Peter winds up getting that spider bite and getting Spider-Man powers. So here's the Loki Season 1, Season 2 question. If it's a bootstrap paradox situation, there had to be an original timeline where things went down differently.
But that's
then something wound up
2016 though,
happening
so I
where
don't
Strange
think
goes back in time
Loki
and creates this scenario where Peter winds up basically
is at
living his origin story like
where
this.
he's at right
My
now.
assumption is this is basically like a Nexus event if you're making Loki references. Originally, this Peter wound up getting the spider bite in some completely different way, and Norman Osborn developed the spider in some different way. He winds up creating his portal in a completely different set of circumstances with different people helping him make it, and then something similar winds up happening where that spider escapes, then bites him, he gets powers, but then at some point through the Time Stone, Doctor Strange winds up causing this as a Nexus event, and like this becomes the Nexus event where it becomes his bootstrap paradox. When it comes to time travel, you can drive yourself crazy trying to figure out the logic of it.
Yeah,
And I'm
bro,
sure
that
the
shit was
showrunner
pretty
and the people
crazy.
that worked on the show will be talking about this later, like, okay, this is exactly how we meant for this to go down. For instance, though, if Peter were to squash that spider in this scene here before it fell through the portal, he would not erase himself from existence because with MCU time travel, you don't change your own past, you only create alternate futures. So this Peter fighting here with Doctor Strange would
So I'm
continue
guessing,
to live,
yeah,
continue to be Spider-Man, but back here at Midtown High, there'd be like another branch timeline that he would have created where this version of Peter just
he
becomes
would have
completely
became
alternate
Spider-Man
reality.
later on, I guess.
But they basically use this entire scene to show you what happened to Doctor Strange after the events of episode 1 when we didn't see him again. Like he basically just pulled the symbiote back in and they threw it back through the portal with a whole bunch of other symbiotes. When they form the super large symbiote, it also feels like a comp to Venom the Last Dance when the symbiote goes super size. But then, setting up our symbiote saga in season 2,
Bro,
appears
he
at the
took
symbiote like a very
too long to
tiny piece
bring
and
it
winds up
down, bro.
making it through the portal and staying that Norman Osborn then later finds with a big like definitely gonna study that in season 2. Doesn't it feel a little bit like
It's gonna be a
Spider-Man
bad
PS4 where
study.
Norman Osborn has a version of the symbiote? Also, the whole relationship between Dr. Octopus and Norman Osborn being really fractious, a lot like Spider-Man PS4 and the way that game went down. There's a whole bunch of social media posts in Harry's feed
Season
yelling
2,
at
bro.
Oscorp or making
That
fun
shit
of
gonna
him
be
being
even
too
more
smart.
lit.
Peter says he doesn't trust Norman Osborn anymore, and Nico gives them the idea to start their own company using Harry's money and a bunch of other really smart people and some of their friends. They wind up naming the company Web for Spider-Man references, and it's an acronym meaning Worldwide Engineering Brigade. And if you've been to Disneyland or Disney World, this is actually a big Easter egg for real-life Disneyland stuff. The Web organization is part of the storyline Web Slingers, A Spider-Man Adventure, the big Spider-Man ride that they built at Disneyland and Disney World a long time ago. Tom Holland filmed a bunch of new material for it. Doctor Strange then explains everything to Peter, revealing his identity to him as well too, even without taking his mask off, like I was that kid right there. He also leaves telling him that he will not tell him his future, but it sounds like they'll continue
Thanos is coming.
in season 2 and season 3. Like Doctor Strange will eventually be back.
Bro, if they would have
If you
Thanos in
keep
this
this away,
series, that
notice
shit would
you
be
see the
crazy,
Watcher
bro.
in the sky watching
But I
Peter,
highly doubt
and
it.
he only shows up when something really WTF is about to happen. So this is probably not a good thing that he's showing up to watch this happen. Then when Harry is trying to send out email invites to get a whole bunch of people to join their company, there are a bunch of Easter eggs here on their list. They try to get Amadeus Cho, Asha, and Jean from Oscorp, basically everybody that was part of that internship. Pretty much all of them say
He
yes,
said,
except
hell
for
nah,
Amadeus
I'm
Cho,
staying
who's gonna
here.
stay at Oscorp because he is a bit of a butthole. Scott Forbes is actually one of the visual artists working on the crew of the show in real life. Some of these names are of real life people that actually work on the show. Max Dillon, of course, you will recognize is Electro, meaning we're going to get Electro in season 2.
Ooh.
Leanne Dufour is an art director who worked on the crew for the show. Ty Miranda is from the Wasp comics more recently.
Damn, bro, we getting a lot.
Emmy Choi might be a version of Susan Choi, who was part of the 1990s Spider-Man animated series. This Priya character is also from those same Wasp comics, guessing she's going to be a season 2 character. Benjamin Anders is a character designer in real life who was part of the crew.
Fuck it, put
Tony
everyone in it.
Sandoval, also an artist in real life. Ned Leeds, self-explanatory. It sounds like Ned Leeds is going to come to the show in season 2. Tiberius Stone is a scientist from the
Norman
Iron Man
Osborn
comics.
and Ned
Rodney, I
Leeds.
think, is a voice actor in
Hey,
real
I
life.
guess.
Kidden Nixon is an X-Men character from the comics.
Getting
Ripley
X-Men
Ryan
too?
is the star character in the comics. She was also part of the Infinity Watch. She was on Kingpin's Thunderbolts team. Diane Jenkins is also from the Spider-Woman comics with Jessica Drew. I'm assuming the fictional characters, like the comic book characters, we will see in season 2. Then we get the big reveal that Jean has been working with Daredevil this whole time as a vigilante. She's Finesse in the comics, and she's Taskmaster's daughter, and she reveals that she's the reason why Daredevil broke into Norman Osborn's office a couple episodes ago. Because
I mean, we
she was
did see
basically
her
trading the company for him. They're trying to help
trying to
him.
get up there,
We get
and then
another
Peter
cameo
caught
scene
her.
from Charlie Cox as his Daredevil. We're literally about to get Daredevil Born Again episodes really soon too in the MCU. She basically says that she's going to continue working with Daredevil, but infiltrate or work inside the web company to make sure that Peter's group doesn't do anything shady either. Lonnie then tells his mother that he's also joined that company. I'm assuming that Peter invited him to join the company. We will see what happens with that, because the way he makes it sound, he lies about getting his GED when he throws his Letterman jacket away, and it sounds like he's just going to be running his gang in season 2. He says
Most
they're gonna be
likely.
looking for a new base, and he has an idea for their next big heist they're gonna pull. And you see that his fingertips are starting to turn white like comic book Tombstone. Nico then uses her powers in her necklace in a
Hell
small
nah, bro.
book to try and summon her mother and actually speak to her from beyond the grave. It sounds like her mother is dead, because the way they talk about it, it's the person that you care about in the actual spell.
Mm,
My
mm,
assumption is that
mm.
in season 2, she'll just wind up telling Peter about her powers, and there'll be some larger arc with her character, like something bigger going on that will require her powers. Maybe they'll get Doctor Strange involved with that too. Like anything magic based, Doctor Strange usually has a hand in it in New York City. In prison, Dr. Octopus draws plans for a
Oh
big
yeah, the
comic book
Easter
heist
egg,
with all
bro.
of his arms. He was already pretty good with the arm. He's pretty handy with them during season 1, so season 2 just sounds like he'll be way more of a menace. But remember, his
I
real
can't wait
thing
for
is that he
that.
just wants to get revenge on Norman Osborn. He says his sole focus now was in getting Norman Osborn. In probably the biggest twist of the episode, heading into season 2, they reveal that Peter's father, Richard Parker, is still alive and in prison for some reason. The whole connection here is
Shit,
that
Otto
Spider-Man
gonna meet
is Peter
everyone in
Parker's son.
jail. The
And it winds
Sinister
up in a huge
Six.
cameo scene. You probably detected his voice is Josh Keaton, who did the voice of Spectacular Spider-Man back in the day.
That's
He
what's
literally
up.
just did a cameo scene as the Invincible Universe version of Spider-Man, or Invincible Multiverse. He seems very well adjusted, like he's none the worse for wear, however long he's been in prison here. It sounds like it's been many years, and it sounds like the reason why he is in prison is because some big plot went sideways a long time ago, and he just ran afoul of that. This feels like
Who's a
vibes from
criminal?
Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man backstory, where his father was part of this secret Oscorp plot, like he used to be a scientist working at Oscorp. Maybe there'll be some big connection between him and Norman Osborn that goes way back, just because they're setting up Norman Osborn as the ultimate big bad for whatever the final season winds up being, and he's seemingly connected to every major character and villain on the show. Like, good characters and bad characters have some tie back to Norman Osborn, so likely Richard Parker, his father, also has some connection with Norman Osborn. Everybody's going to go back and watch Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. There
I
are
was gonna
great
do that
scenes
too.
during those movies where you find out that his father is still alive and just shows up at the grave at the end of that movie. We will never know. Maybe they'll pick that up in some future storyline when they bring Andrew Garfield back in the movies. Then at the very end of the episode, he web slings across the city in his new suit. We get another Clev cameo scene. There's been so much Clev in these episodes. Like, he's getting more play in these episodes than he ever did in the movies. When he runs and jumps
I
over
don't
the
even know who
building,
that
we
is,
hear
bro.
tubes spinning
I think
around,
he's
and also
a
feels like
streamer. I don't know.
Miles move in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. During the end credits, they add scenes of the symbiote fight, Doctor Strange and Peter, Jean Foucault in her finesse costume with Daredevil from the comics. In general, it was a really solid series. Like I said, they've already started working on season 2, and they just renewed it for season 3, so it sounds like they're going to try and get episodes out as quickly as possible. We'll see what winds up going on with that. Still kind of bummed out that we're not going to get X-Men 97 Season 2 until next year.
Bruh.
But if there's any other
That
Easter
shit
eggs or
can't come
references during
quicker.
the episodes that you spotted that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. Given the big Josh Keaton cameo scene that I was not expecting, hopefully they'll find a couple cool surprise cameos for Season 2. Really big reminder,
For
there are
sure.
Born Again episodes in a couple weeks. They've
Born
already got a couple
Again.
videos for
They
it.
need to add him to
Just
Marvel Rivals already. Daredevil gonna be crazy. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.